Have you ever noticed that the person you were initially drawn to, the one who just completed your world, sparked that amazing chemistry?
Uh,
And then maybe 6 months, maybe 6 years later, that same person drives you absolutely insane.
oh, it's the classic relationship puzzle, isn't it? We get pulled in by this like perfect match only to find ourselves stuck, really stuck in these painful cycles that just repeat and
Yeah, like
repeat.
you can't stop them. You feel like you're speaking completely different languages. Nobody feels heard.
Hmm.
That invisible, frustrating loop. Well, that's exactly what we're digging into today.
We are.
We're taking a deep dive into what we're calling the hidden couples code, why opposites attract then collide. And we're drawing heavily on the insights from licensed marriage and family therapists, Dr. Mark Waller and Christina Black. You might know them from the Mastering Thought community.
Right. And their approach is really interesting because they blend psychology, the brain science, with deeper somatic and sort of spiritual perspectives, mind and body working together for conscious awareness.
And they also run that online community, right? Thought Masters.
That's it. Thought Masters. It's all about personal growth, transformation. Definitely something for you to explore later if this resonates.
Absolutely. So our mission today is to unpack this. We want to look at the two fundamental partner types they identify, the lion and the unicorn.
Lion and unicorn, yeah.
Understand their deepest emotional drivers, and crucially, see how understanding this pattern can shift your relationship. Move it from that constant friction to maybe a real opportunity for growth.
It really can offer a completely different lens on, well, probably every argument you've ever had.
Okay, let's start with that core conflict. Dr. Waller and Christina point out that conversations often fail because partners just don't get what's actually irritating the other person.
Right. The intention might even be good sometimes, but the impact is way off because they're operating from completely different emotional blueprints, different goals for the conversation.
They talk about this core pattern that most couples fall into. It often starts when one partner, let's not label them lion or unicorn just yet, starts to feel rejected.
Mm-hmm. That deep, nobody cares about me feeling.
And that pain often comes out as anger.
Right. Then the other partner sees that anger and they immediately feel overwhelmed. They get, freaked out. They need space, like right now.
So they pull back, physically or emotionally.
Exactly.
But here's the kicker, isn't it?
Yeah.
That pulling back, that need for space, looks exactly like rejection to the first partner,
The ultimate rejection. So the original anger just ramps up.
which makes the second partner withdraw even more.
And round we go. It's this horribly elegant feedback loop, really, driven purely by misinterpreting each other's survival signals.
Wow. Okay.
But they say the breakthrough, the real shift, happens when you realize you're in this predictable dance. That's why Dr. Waller's book is called The Dance of the Lion and the Unicorn. Just naming it, seeing the pattern, it changes everything. Well, arguments start actually finishing. The fighting can decrease because you start to understand, okay, my partner isn't trying to hurt me. They're trying to protect themselves. They're trying to survive based on their wiring.
That makes sense for the conflict part.
Hmm.
But why do we get into this dance in the first place? Why the attraction? Why do opposites seem to attract so consistently?
That goes deeper. It's about energetic completion, essentially. Unconsciously, each partner feels something is missing within themselves.
Okay.
And the other person's energy seems to hold that missing piece. It creates this incredibly powerful, almost magnetic pull. You're drawn to the energy you feel you lack.
So if I'm really cautious, maybe I'm drawn to someone bold and adventurous.
Exactly. Or if you tend to be more aggressive, you might be drawn to someone who seems really calm and peaceful. The experts say it can be a tremendous headache or an enormous learning opportunity.
Huh. Usually both, right? Okay, let's define these types then. The lion and the unicorn, what are their core motivations?
Okay, two primary types, driven by two really distinct urgent needs. Let's start with the unicorn.
Okay.
For the unicorn, pretty much their entire emotional world orbits around safety. That's the prime directive. Predictability is key.
And their main emotional pain.
Anxiety, deep anxiety. They avoid conflict because that feeling of being in trouble, even slightly, feels incredibly unsafe. It triggers that anxiety.
And this explains your language, doesn't it, when they ask for calm or peace during a tense discussion?
Yes, it's not just them trying to derail things. They are literally voicing their most fundamental need in that moment. I need to feel safe before I can continue this. They need the environment to stabilize.
That's a huge insight. Okay, so that's the unicorn, driven by safety. Compare that to the lion.
The lion, completely different driver. For the lion, it's all about approval.
Approval, okay.
Their core emotional pain is rejection, that feeling of nobody cares, or maybe even deeper, I'm not good enough.
So you've got this fundamental clash baked in. The lion comes to a conversation wanting validation, wanting to feel seen and approved of,
Desperately wanting it.
while the unicorn comes wanting stability, wanting non-threat, wanting safety.
Two totally different missions. Two unmet needs colliding head-on. It's no wonder communication breaks down.
And just knowing that, they say, can be liberating. Realizing, okay, this fight isn't really about the dishes. It's about one of us needing approval and the other needing safety.
Precisely. It depersonalizes it, just a little.
Okay, so we know what they are, but why are these roles so sticky? Why does the lion always seem to roar and the unicorn always seem to run?
Now we get into the brain science. This is crucial. These patterns are wired deep, deep down into our limbic system.
The monkey brain, right? The survival part.
Exactly. Fight, flight, anger, fear,
Yeah.
that whole system. And it gets largely programmed, believe it or not, by about age 5, based entirely on how we learn to relate to our caregivers who were, let's face it, imperfect.
So it's like an emotional roadmap we built just to get through childhood.
Yeah.
It doesn't even have to be major trauma, just patterns learned from maybe an unpredictable parent or one who was checked out or maybe overly controlling.
That's right. Just the normal imperfections of parenting create these survival maps. And here's the really mind-blowing part, especially in committed relationships like marriage or living together.
Yeah.
The limbic system, which runs on emotional association, not logic, starts to identify your adult partner as that childhood caregiver who created the original map.
Whoa. Wait, so I'm not really reacting to my partner in that moment?
A huge part of you isn't. The emotional child part of your brain, the one wired for survival based on those early experiences, hijacks the system. It thinks it's dealing with mom or dad again.
That explains why the reactions can feel so
Huge.
out of proportion to whatever actually happened.
Totally. And the way they react follows the lion-unicorn pattern perfectly. The lion system defaults to aggression. They activate the sympathetic nervous system, that's the body's accelerator, the go system. Attack mode. Brain scans apparently show they light up the left prefrontal area. That part's associated with offensive strategies, taking action, using anger almost like a tool to get a result, to demand that recognition.
Right, trying to force the approval.
Right.
Meanwhile, the unicorn?
Avoidant. Their system goes the other way. Parasympathetic nervous system takes over. That's the body's brakes. Rest, digest, withdraw, shut down.
And the brain.
They activate the right prefrontal area, more associated with escape strategies, risk assessment, scanning for nonverbal cues, looking for a way out.
Trying to get away from the feeling of being controlled or overwhelmed.
Exactly. They want to reduce the stimulation, find safety. Now, there's a caveat with unicorns. Dr. Waller mentions they do get angry, but only when they feel totally trapped, cornered. And when that happens, look out. They become the scariest person of all because it's pure survival kicking in after all the escape routes failed.
That paints a really clear picture of the mechanics. But let's go even deeper. What about the core wound itself, the original source code for this programming?
Yeah, this is like the diagnostic key. For the unicorn, the core wound typically comes from their relationship with the parent, who is the source of pressure, control, or conflict.
So they learned early on, control, danger, avoidance, survival.
Pretty much. Their adult avoidance is just that childhood survival strategy playing out automatically. They're trying to get away from that feeling of being pressured or controlled.
And the lion.
Right.
What's their core wound?
For the lion, it's rooted in perceived rejection by a parent, a feeling of not being seen, not being valued. And this often manifests deep down as shame.
Shame, as in, I'm not good enough.
Exactly that deep, painful sense of inadequacy. So the roaring, the demanding of approval, it's really a desperate, often unconscious attempt to cover up that shame, to prove their worth to themselves and others.
Wow, so if you can see that the lion's roar is actually masking shame.
And the unicorn's withdrawal is masking anxiety about being controlled.
The whole story changes, doesn't it? It moves from my partner is deliberately trying to hurt me to something more like my partner is protecting a very old wound and they're doing it unconsciously.
That shift in perspective is everything. That's where the healing, the growth can actually start.
Okay, so if these roles are unconscious, driven by the survival brain, what's the way out? How do we become conscious?
There's really only one tool powerful enough to counter the automatic animal brain, and that's metacognition.
Metacognition, thinking about thinking.
Exactly. Awareness of your own thoughts and feelings as they are happening. You have to be able to watch your own emotional reaction unfold in real time instead of just being swept away by it.
So, catching yourself right as the lion part of you wants to roar, or noticing that urge to withdraw as the unicorn.
Yes, moving from being the actor completely lost in the role to being the observer watching the play unfold. That observation creates a little bit of space, and in that space, choice becomes possible.
How do you develop that skill? It sounds hard.
It takes practice. The experts teach a specific technique called moment mindfulness. It's designed precisely to build this awareness muscle, to help you become, as they put it, the master of the voice in your head.
The voice that narrates the whole lion-unicorn drama.
That's the one. The
Yeah.
voice the monkey brain uses to keep the cycle going. They suggest practicing moment mindfulness just 2 or 3 times a day, consistently. Over a month or so, you can apparently experience a real shift in awareness.
So it requires commitment, but the payoff is huge. Being able to actually choose how you respond in those heated moments instead of just reacting automatically.
Right. And the goal isn't necessarily to completely erase the lion or unicorn pattern. I mean, these things are wired in pretty deep.
Right.
The goal is to gain enough awareness to step outside of the unconscious dynamic more often. And paradoxically, that awareness is what allows for more intimacy, more understanding, more fulfillment. The relationship itself, even with its challenges, can become your best teacher, your best spiritual teacher, as they sometimes say.
That's a powerful reframe. Okay, let's try to boil this down. The essential takeaway. If someone remembers just one thing from our deep dive today, what should it be?
I'd say this. Your intimate partner is fundamentally driven by an urgent, almost non-negotiable need for either safety or approval. Period.
One needs safety, the unicorn.
Mm.
The other needs approval, the lion.
And when you have two people in a conversation, one desperately needing validation, the other desperately needing to feel safe and not threatened, they're having two completely different conversations. They have almost no chance of truly connecting unless they become aware of those opposing missions.
That really clarifies the core problem.
And maybe that leads us to the provocative thought for you, the listener, to take away. Remember, these lion and unicorn roles are unconscious.
Right. If you're acting like a lion, you're likely reacting from unconscious shame. If you're acting like a unicorn, you're likely reacting from unconscious anxiety.
So the question becomes, how might your relationships fundamentally change, starting right now, if your only mission was to bring conscious awareness into that dynamic? Just awareness.
That's something to chew on. Now, if people are listening and thinking, okay, which one am I? Is there a way to find out?
Yes. They actually offer a really quick quiz on their platform. I think that's
Yeah.
just 9 questions. It helps you immediately identify whether you lean more lion or unicorn. It's a great starting point.
Good to know. And you mentioned Dr. Waller's book earlier.
Absolutely. The Dance of the Lion and the Unicorn. It goes much deeper into the neuroscience, the practical steps, really lays it all out. It's on Audible too, apparently. And many people say it just completely shifted how they view love and conflict.
We're checking out then. And finally, that community you mentioned.
Yes, Thought Masters, their online community. If this stuff resonates, that's where they dive deeper, discuss these concepts, help people apply them. It sounds like a really supportive space for people serious about turning these relationship challenges into real growth.
Lions and unicorns figuring it out together.
Something like that. They're really dedicated to helping you find that best spiritual teacher within your own life challenges.
Excellent. So find the quiz, check out the book, explore Thought Masters, and start that mission of bringing consciousness to your own dance.